viewer, you're welcome to this edition of Power Wheel, a production of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. We bring you trending reports in the power sector. But first, the headlines. Federal government collaborates with Norway on hydropower growth. TCN fixes 100 MVA transformer to double Alagmo substation's capacity. Metering code panel sensitizes power sector operators, consumers on map. These and more will come your way in this edition as you stay with us. I am Chinwenwa Anyao. The federal government is collaborating with Norway to tap from its vast experience in hydropower generation to grow Nigeria's capacity.
The Minister of State Power, Mr. Godi J.D. Agba, disclosed this recently during a courtesy visit of the Norwegian ambassador, Mr. Jens Petit Jemprod, to the Federal Ministry of Power in Abuja. Mr. Agba briefed newsmen along with the Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Mr. UG Mohammed, after the meeting. He said Norway has a robust power sector and that sharing experiences would help both countries.
Norway is a very positive power efficient state in the world. And he believes that we too are growing power-wise, and sharing experiences will help our country and his country to develop. The world is going global, so if we can share experiences from what they have gained, what knowledge they've gotten. Since we are growing a power system just now, it will help us to progress further. That's why His Excellency is here.
He noted that the discussion with the Norwegian ambassador also premised on the possibility of having some investors coming to the country to invest in the power sector.
We'll look at them and see if it's of use to us. And certainly, if they're useful to us and we find them very encouraging, we shall encourage them to participate in our development project in power.
The Norwegian ambassador, Mr. Jemprod, said there are 70 Norwegian firms in Nigeria, but that they are not fully in the power sector.
We have currently 70 Norwegian companies active in Nigeria, but not that heavily engaged in the power sector. We have, as the minister rightly said, a long history of generating power, electricity. In fact, we do 99% from hydropower.
He said his country has vast experience in hydropower generation, with that making 99% of its electricity supply source.
We believe we have some comparative advantages and a number of companies who would like to work with Nigeria in developing and strengthening the power sector. Norway is a highly industrial nation, and we built our industries on the fact that we first developed our hydropower sector to supply the Norwegian industry with cheap and efficient power and stable power. So we have discussed, Nigeria has a huge internal market and huge possibilities of expanding its industries, but it needs to be competitive, and that's where hydropower comes in as one alternative.
The Managing Director of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, Mr. UG Mohammed, says the in-house engineers of the company are fixing a 100 MVA power transformer at the Alagmo transmission substation in Lagos, with plans to double the wheeling capacity of the substation.
Mr. Mohammed disclosed this recently when he made an inspection visit to the substation. While addressing the press about the capability of the TCN in-house engineers, he said a previous 60 MVA has been completely fixed by the TCN in-house engineers.
At your back, the 100 MVA, I think in the next 1 or 2 weeks, it will also be completed. That means that there will be no challenge here completely. They will have, all the challenge we have here in Alagbon will have been completely eradicated. But we are also trying to put additional capacity here under the Transmission Rehabilitation Expansion Program. We are putting additional 100% of capacity at 330 here. That is, we are putting 1 by 300 MVA. And at 132, we are putting about 80% of the existing capacity. So this is what we are doing under the Transmission Rehabilitation Expansion Program.
He explained that the essence of significantly increasing the transformer capacity of the substation is in line with TCN's vision of ensuring redundancy across its networks to provide more stable bulk power delivery even when one of the equipment in the substation fails. The TCN boss also said there is a plan to create another transmission line that will connect the Alagbon substation from Akangba to provide multiple in-feeding systems for Lagos Island.
We are bringing another line from Akamba to this place so that we have also redundancy of line, so that Lagos Island will not only be supplied only from Egbin to Aja, but we will also have from Akamba to Ijora and then Ijora to this place. So that is what we are looking at.
On the impacts of the innovative initiative being implemented nationwide under the Transmission Rehabilitation and Expansion Program TREP, he said,
we are modernizing the grid. For information, I've told you, for the first time we are expanding the grid based on study. We did a 20-year least cost transmission expansion plan. It is based on this 20-year least cost transmission expansion plan that we came up with what we call a 4-year plan, which is called Transmission Rehabilitation and Expansion Program, and which we are implementing. And the objective of that program is to put N-1 across the country. I mean, what is N-1? It means that if one equipment goes out, it should not affect the supply of the place. And that means that if you have a requirement for a 60 MVA, you have to put 60 times 2. And also, if you are building line, you have to build the line in loop. And that's why we are working to close the loop even here. We want to close the loop that runs from Aja to this place, so that we close it with Akamba.
The head distribution at Eco Electricity Distribution Company, EKEDC, Engineer Yinka Adeumi, spoke of the synergy the DISCOs has with TCN. He assured that the improvement in TCN facilities will have a ripple effect on customers of the DISCO within the franchise areas.
And in terms of new transformer substations being added to the network to expand the network, so a lot is being done. We normally communicate this to the public on a regular basis. The constant power, like we have always been saying, is an incremental thing. Improvement is coming in an incremental form, and definitely there's a lot of improvement. It actually depends on where you are, but what we can assure is that this development and improvement will get to everybody within our franchise area.
Let's take a break for a message. Please stay tuned.
Do not build under transmission power lines for your safety and health. Electricity power lines and substations, either for power transmission or power distribution services, are extremely dangerous when exposed to direct human contact. These power lines and substations transmit electricity that lights up our homes and offices, power our computers, TVs, and refrigerators. On the other hand, the same electricity when exposed is extremely dangerous. It can shock, electrocute, and kill anyone on its way. That is why everyone must adopt safety measures whenever we use or are close to electricity facilities like power lines or substation or transformers. For the safety of the people and animals, governments all over the world have approved way leave or right-of-way of 50 meters for 330 kV power lines and 30 meters for 132 kV power lines, and for 33 kV lines the way leave is 15 meters. People are not expected to be found within this way leave or right-of-way for safety reasons. The lines can suddenly cut and fall to the ground with very disastrous consequences such as fire and electrocution of anybody and destruction of anything, be it vehicle, houses or vegetation on its line. It has also been established that power lines and substation emit electromagnetic fields EMF, which is dangerous to human health. The World Health Organization, WHO, has warned that people who spend long hours under or close high-tension lines stand the risk of being affected by EMF and be vulnerable to cancer, leukemia in children, miscarriages among pregnant women, and other terrible diseases. It is therefore advisable not to build any structure or operate any business under or near any electricity high-tension lines or substations. TCN wants you to stay alive, stay safe, stay healthy, avoid power lines. This message is from the management of Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
The Metering Code Review Panel, a standing committee of the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, NERC, has held a workshop to sensitize power sector operators and electricity consumers on the Enugu Distribution Company on the Metering Code and the ongoing Meter Asset Providers MAP program for metering electricity users across the DISCOs.
The workshop was held recently at Owerri, the Imo State capital. The secretary and head of the panel, who is also the head market operation MO, a subsector of the Transmission Company of Nigeria TCN, Engineer Edmond AJ, explained that NEC had issued the metering code to guide the Nigerian electricity industry operators on the proper process of meter installations for power consumers. Engineer AJ, in a presentation, said NEC issued the code and constituted the Metering Code Review Panel, comprising of experts who oversee the implementation and periodic review of the regulation. The regulator domiciled the secretariat of the panel with the market operator.
The Metering Code Review Panel is part of the regulator. The NEC, in its wisdom, decided to say the secretariat of this Metering Code Review Panel is with the market operator, and then market operator, of course, happens to be the permanent secretary.
He emphasized on the importance of metering for the operators in the sector, saying it helps in energy accountability and proper billing of consumers. AJ also sensitized the electricity consumers on the current meter asset providers MAP regulation of NEC. He said the MAP was initiated to respond to the yearnings of electricity customers who have been seeking for meters to end their complaints about the estimated billing system. The Director General of Imo Power and Rural Electricity Agency, Dr. Albert Okorogu, lauded the panel for holding the meeting. He said meters are not affordable for consumers in the rural areas of the state, but that his agency is seeking ways of ensuring they are metered.
The people in the rural area are really not economically viable. And as we look at the single-phase and three-phase meters, they are, in my opinion, very expensive.
Those lines that we're going to conduct are these. From Ikeja West to Alimosho, Alimosho to Ogba to Ota. Then from Ogba also to Alausa, we're going to conduct the line. We'll recover between 500 and 700 megawatt on that line of standard capacity by reconducting that line. Then we're going to reconduct Itu to Aba, also from Onitsha to Nibo Oka and then to Oji River. We are going to reconduct from Prenikebi to Sokoto, then from Kaduna, Zaria, Funtua, Gusau. We're going to reconduct them. Now our intention is that the first one we are awarding contract, but the subsequent one, TCN engineers will do it by themselves.
Staff of the Communications Department of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, have been advised to make the best use of their refreshed skill sets as they concluded an inclusive hands-on training on telecommunications.
The system operator, Engineer Mamman Lawal, gave the advice at the conclusion of the communications training at the TCN substation in Akwanga, Nasarawa State, recently. Engineer Lawal said the week-long training was tailored to impart on the trainees modernized and advanced technologies for communication, adding that the trainees would have deepened their knowledge base or skill sets. The system operator, assisted by the resource person Dr. Vincent Dogo, also presented certificates of participation to the trainees as he lauded them for their commitment to imbibing the precepts of the training. Engineer Lawal also received a certificate of recognition on behalf of the Managing Director of TCN, Mr. UG Mohammed. It is for his commitment towards the training and retraining of TCN staff.
You see, no other person than the CEO of Transmission Company of Nigeria himself, and the person of Mr. Usman Gur Mohammed.
The system operator, after receiving the award on behalf of the Managing Director of TCN, declared the training closed.
On behalf of the Managing Director CEO of TCN, we declare this program closed. Thank you.
The trainees also shared their experience with Power Wheel about the practical aspects of the training at Akwanga Substation Switchyard. A communication engineer from TCN Abuja region, Ibrahim Aliu, said,
"This training gives us a chance to understand and be able to carry out first level maintenance for SDH systems and fiber optic systems in our network, and that will actually improve the quality of communications we have, as well as the protection for the system, and also set the foundation for the automation that is coming."
Ogene Karo Balogun from the National Control Center of TCN in Oshogbo said,
"With this training, we'll be able to carry out preventive and breakdown maintenance on this equipment, because TCN has deployed them to different stations in the country, and we use them to transmit voice telephony and data acquisition. So with this training, if we are able to carry out breakdown maintenance, it will reduce link downtime and thus improving system stability and reliability. And we also want to thank the management for giving us this opportunity to be able to be involved in trainings like this and for organizing trainings like this. It will make the personnel more equipped to carry out their job functions."
Engineer Abdusalam Saleh from Bauchi region of TCN said he received training on fiber optics and other telecommunications handling aspects.
From what I saw from the facilitators, I come to realize that TCN will have a very brighter future, because the training has given us what we really are in need of. Because really, since we joined TCN, we couldn't have this kind of opportunity of getting a hands on the equipment and the splicing way of how fiber can be able to be repaired, either to be used. But with this kind of training, I come to realize that I'm fully equipped. I can be able to do whatever it concerns on fiber and any communication. So I don't think I may have any challenge.
We're bringing you more reports in the Power Flash segment. Please don't go away. Up next is the feedback segment. Here are comments on our feedback segment for this edition. On our Facebook page, we have the following comments. TCN posted a brief on the courtesy visit of the TCN MD, Mr. UG Mohammed, to the Governor of Katsina State, His Excellency, Honorable Aminu Masari, recently. This post got 70 likes, 8 comments, and 12 shares. Top of the comments include Afolabi Emmanuel Aderemi said, "God bless our MD of Dynamic Mind. Kudos." Aliyu Daura Deda posted this. "That's good, and hoping to complete their installation of wiring from Katsina to Daura, which he promised to be completed." For Faiza Mwazu Hashim, he said, "Governor Masari is working." Being optimistic, Adeyinka Adeyemi posted this. TCN, we will get there. The MD CEO of TCN, Eugene Mohammed, recently presented developments and status of implementation of 2019 appropriations to the House of Representatives Committee on Power, headed by the chairman, Honorable Engineer Magaji Dao Aliyu, in the National Assembly Complex, Abuja. It drew reactions on Facebook. 72 users liked it. It has 2 comments and shared by 13 others. The comments read thus. Abdurrauf Alamu, kudos to TCN. Engineer Mutali Boladale said, well done, sir. TCN is great. That was a comment from another Facebook user, Seidu Zakari. On the Twitter page, TCN tweeted the National Grid Performance Report capturing TCN and Disco's interface from September 16 to 22, 2019. This tweet got 7 comments, 17 retweets, and 36 likes. Top of these comments include Akim at AK33M tweeted, so much deficiency in the capacity of the discos. It's more like they are undermining the federal government's TCN efforts. Or how do you explain being allocated certain megawatts, yet a disco rejects? Discos are there to exploit us. This was a tweet by Jude Eke. Another Twitter user, Noel Ehihade, tweeted, we don't have power from BEDC, only estimated bill monthly. The company also tweeted a report on a training conducted recently in Akwanga, Nasarawa State, on the operation and maintenance of telecoms equipment and fiber optic installation. The tweet has 2 comments, 3 retweets, and 19 likes. Bala Inua at Bala Inua 7 tweeted, please conduct such relevant training frequently and involve OEMs of fiber optic technology too. TCN Nigeria at TCN Nigeria tweeted a reply to that. Hello, sir. Compliments. Many thanks for your suggestion. Good to read from you. Best regards. Another Twitter user identified as SkyVisa at SkyVisa tweeted this. Greetings, team TCN. Good one indeed. Thank you for following us on our social media handles and giving us your feedback.
In the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, we transmit bulk electricity from power generating companies, GenCos, to distribution load centers of various distribution companies, DISCOs. Nationwide, we do not generate electricity, neither do we distribute same directly to electricity consumers. TCN has 2 business units, the Transmission Service Provider, TSP, and Independent System Operations, ISO. The ISO comprises of System Operation, SO, and Market Operation, MO. The business units all perform specialized functions under the TCN umbrella. Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, wielding power for national economic growth. This message is brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN.
We appreciate you for sticking with us on this program. Join us next week on the same station for a refreshing edition of Power Wheel. This episode and the previous ones are available on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on these other platforms showing on your screen. I am Chiwenwa Anyao. See you next time.